Finally, a place with a burger chandelier, a gumball waterfall, and a finish line for your beverage. It's the Lily Factor. Ding! Welcome to the process of the Ready, Set, Go diner. This is a digital illustration I've been working on for over a year. I started working on it in between a digital painting I had done of my sister, and this was a digital painting that was really ambitious for me when I started at the time, so I mainly would kind of come back to it every few months and work just a little bit on it whenever I felt the motivation and the desire to do so. It was never really an illustration I thought I would actually finish, so finishing it, I'm very excited about that fact, and I credit some of that to the fact that when I finished this illustration, I was working on it in between working on my new animated intro, which a process video for that is currently in the works. But at some point I was working on the intro and I decided I wanted to take a break, and I was just scrolling through other digital artworks I had done, and I came across this one and suddenly, bam, I wanted to finish it that evening. And I did. I never thought I would finish it. It wasn't something that weighed on me per se, because this was really a for fun kind of idea, but to have it been incomplete for over a year, I wasn't sure I'd finish it. I like to say artwork has expiration dates, and especially when it's coming back every few months, every time I know what I did wrong before, so it was difficult to keep coming back to that when I had to keep fixing things. But that final stretch, I was just thinking, I know what I can do to finish this now. Things that were hard to draw at first, like transparent and translucent objects, suddenly I had more motivation to draw those things, so it just became natural to ignore the errors of the past and finish strong, finish this illustration. And I love it because it looks like conceptual art, which I just love. But it just invites you into this world of people eating at this diner and then just bringing these ideas to life, like that window. I had an idea in my head of how it would look, and that long time back when I was trying to figure out how to do that window, I worked at it. I've worked at it, and I eventually got it to look like how I pictured if it was slightly blurrier than I had pictured. Because I had been working on this illustration for a long duration, there were things I had to work to fix. I definitely, towards the last stretch of working on it, I had to fix the characters I drew and draw them again, which even so, the final time I worked on this illustration, I think I would have wanted to fix at least one of the characters, but also fixing things like that just weren't correct perspective-wise. I decided to add a staircase there for the island area, so it would make more sense why the floor was so high above them. I also couldn't decide what I wanted to do with the waitress's other hand, because I knew I didn't want to draw another drink glass, so I eventually, after an awkward thumbs up, I eventually just decided to put some straws in her hand. She is a waitress, after all. The overall idea for this illustration stemmed from eating at a restaurant, just my dad and I, and we went to this burger restaurant, and they had red and white tile just all around this restaurant, and I thought that was interesting. It just kind of stuck with me, so it kind of sparked this idea of drawing a diner type of restaurant that could have a lot of tile, but the tile could be inspired by the finish line of a racetrack, and then that theme could continue on and having racetrack tile and then the racetrack on the countertop so that the youngsters could enjoy driving their beverage across the finish line, since the stem of every drinking glass would have a car attached at the bottom of it. And since it's clearly a family-friendly restaurant, it needs a gumball machine. But I had a lot of fun experimenting with this, with trying to figure out things like these transparent objects, drink glasses, playing around with, the sweat on the glasses, the water, the reflections coming through, the refraction from the straw and the water, the ice cubes, all those things you have to factor in. This is definitely something I knew I wanted to share the process of, because there were a lot of little details that went into everything that made it a full illustration, and invited you into a world that felt real, and that's why I wanted harsh lighting too, so you could really sense that there was life in there. I'm proud to see it finished and know how much I've improved coming along it every few months. I don't think I would have had the capacity to draw all those transparent objects, the tile and the car, until that last stretch. But even the tile surprised me, because the last stretch I was like, oh, this is gonna take me a while. But it actually didn't take me very long. Granted, it's not hyper-realistic tile, but it was just what I needed for that sort of style I was going for. So after adding some final touch-ups, details, the gumballs going down the waterfall, and some extra shadows and lighting where it needed to be, the illustration was finished. I'd like to thank you all for watching and coming along this illustration process, and may God bless you in your life and your art. Bye!